Hi, my name is Interpersonal and I bring you greetings from Charlotte, North Carolina. I am a student at Liberty University Online and this is my interpersonal communication project. Next slide. This project will highlight my journey through HSCO 508 and evaluate what I've learned. This semester has definitely challenged everything I thought I knew about communication and I look forward to sharing it with you. What is communication? Communication is the continuous, complex, and collaborative process of verbal and nonverbal meaning making. What is interpersonal communication? It is defined by Stewart as the kind of communication that happens when the people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the personal. Next slide. My overarching goal is to become a more effective, reliable, and respectful listener and communicator. My goal is to continuously listen at a level 1 of empathetic listening and while actively engaging the roles within a conversation. Next slide. Enlarging the conversation. My definition includes acquiring the necessary skills to significantly enhance your communication and take it to the next level. Stewart identified 6 features involved in enlarging a conversation. 1. Communication is the process of collaboratively making meaning. Communication involves making choices. Culture and communication are intertwined. 4. States that all communicating involves negotiating identities. 5. Conversations are the most influential communication event. And last but not least, 6. The most important single communication skill includes nexting. Identified needs plus intentional resourcing equals enlarging the conversation. Next slide. My behavioral blend, what Graph 1 identified, what I thought others thought of me was a C/S personality type. Tend to be passive, caring, more reserved leader, a quiet servant, and caring and law-abiding, as well as being analytical. What really was me, also Graph 2, was my C/I/S personality, which states that I had strong personal or people skills. I was friendly, and I had a critical, fault-finding attitude, and I lacked assertiveness and aggressiveness. Next slide. Effects of my behavioral blend. Positive influences would be that I'm caring and a law-abiding and friendly person. I have strong people skills. I'm very submissive and competent, and I'm a peacemaker. Negative influences would be the fact that I can be critical and judgmental to those that I know. I'm too passive at times I'm too nice. I am very indecisive when it comes to making big decisions, and I tend to research too much or become overly analytical in the fact that at times I can be very reserved. Next slide. My interpersonal skills test revealed that I scored a 78 out of 100, which means there's still room for growth. I was fairly adept at seeing things from the perspective of others while also realizing that empathy is essential. I tend to sense what others are thinking, and I can likely adjust my behavior accordingly. Next slide. Burley Allen identified attributes of an effective listener. Some included they keep an open and curious mind. They look for an area of interest in the speaker's message. They are aware of personal biases. They tend to listen to ideas rather than specific facts in a message. And they focus their attention on the talker's ideas while listening with feeling and intuition. Next slide. Barriers to my own interpersonal communication. My short attention span and tendency to interrupt. Biased listening, which means I form my own opinion about the level of value of what is being said. Hearing what I want to hear, basically hearing just that and not what is being said, and past experiences. Next slide. How to combat those barriers? Personally, I think I could just focus on the listener and hear what they are saying, be more empathetic. However, Sarah Cola identified some helpful ways that could also help me to combat those listening barriers, which included developing powers of concentration, generating interest in that information, working at listening actively, overlooking the speaker's mannerisms, capitalizing on thought speed, holding my response, and paraphrasing remarks. Next slide. Noise pollution. Noise pollution is identified as anything that could hinder me from actually hearing what is being said or listening. Internal noise pollution are the things that go on with myself that I can control, and external are things that happen on the outside environment. Next slide. Some examples of internal noise pollution include my own perception of the speaker, my short attention span, my own emotions, fatigue or being too tired to listen, the desire to interrupt. Next slide. Some examples of external noise pollution includes the talker's mannerisms, loud outside noises, views of outside scenery, the talker speaking in a monotone, work pressures, doodling, or sitting with people that I may know. Next slide. Some solutions to noise pollution that I have identified include being focused, respecting the speaker, teeth marks and tongue as presented by Peterson, which basically means to bite my tongue and wait my own turn, concentrating on the speaker, playing the appropriate role at the appropriate time in the conversation, again, which was identified by Peterson's talker listener card, actively listening, and shutting off anything that could potentially bring any noise or distractions, such as open doors or windows or cell phones. And last but not least, moving seats. Next slide. Keys to effective listening. Graham introduced 7 keys to effective listening. 1. To concentrate on what others are saying. 2. To send a nonverbal message that you are listening. 3. To avoid early evaluations. 4. Avoid getting defensive. 5. Practice paraphrasing. 6. To listen and observe for feelings. And last but not least, 7. To ask questions. Next slide. My personal plan of action is to enlist the methods, all of the methods that I've learned and practiced within this class, such as the use of Peterson's talker listener card, identifying again the roles within the conversation, taking turns speaking and listening with the person I am in conversation with, listening techniques that were learned through Peterson's text, which included parafilling, parathinking, and playing the detective parafilling or thinking, basically putting the speaker's thoughts or feelings in my own words, being the detective, asking questions about what's being said, and last but not least, owning my own feelings, which basically means if something is said that provokes my emotions to come forth, I mention that without going back, without taking away from the speaker's story, and being able to continue on in what is being said. Learning the dynamics of inhaling and exhaling. Again, inhaling meaning listening and taking in what the speaker is saying, exhaling meaning releasing what's being said and actually responding to what was said. Just being more empathetic and focused, and to practice again teeth marks in tongue, which basically means waiting my turn. Next slide. So in conclusion, my prayer is that through the Holy Spirit allowing me to remember what I've learned, that I will gain the skills essential to enlarging my own communication skills, that I will improve my listening level from a 2 or 3 to empathetic level 1, and doing that through practicing active and both empathetic listening, positively influencing those around me to be more effective communicators. Next slide. This concludes my presentation. I appreciate your time. God bless.